What if your home doesn't appraise? Louisville sellers, you must know this. Hi, I'm David Hittle, real estate specialist, doing business as Shop Kentucky Homes LLC with United Real Estate Louisville. And one of the most stressful moments in a home sale happens after you already think the deal is done. You have accepted an offer. Everything feels great. Inspection is done. And then the appraisal comes back in lower than the offer price. So today I'm going to explain what an appraisal actually does, what happens when it comes in low, and the real options sellers have in the Louisville market when this happens. So first off, let's clarify what the appraisal actually is. An appraisal is ordered by the buyer's lender to make sure the home is worth at least the amount that the buyer is borrowing to purchase it. The appraiser looks at recent comparable sales, the home's condition, the home's location, and the current market trends. And then they issue an opinion of value. That number matters because the lender will not loan more than the appraised value. So what does a low appraisal actually mean? Well, a low appraisal does not mean that your home is bad. It usually means one of three things happened. A, the market moved faster than the appraiser's data. B, the comparable sales didn't fully support the price. Or C, the contract price simply pushed the top of the range too high. This usually happens more often in competitive or changing markets, and yes, it still happens in the Louisville area. So what options do sellers really have? Well, when an appraisal comes in low, there are only a few possible paths that can move the thing forward. Let me walk you through those. Option one, the buyer brings extra cash. In some cases, the buyer may choose to bring additional money to closing. For example, if the home appraises $10,000 lower than the offer price, the buyer may agree to cover that difference out of their own pocket. This usually happens when the buyer really wants the home, when the buyer has some extra cash available, or when they are competing in a strong market. This is the cleanest solution, but it doesn't always happen. Option two, renegotiate the price. This is the most common outcome, and that is a price adjustment. The buyer may ask you to reduce the price to match the appraised value, or meet somewhere in the middle. This is where strategy matters. Sometimes adjusting the price makes sense. Sometimes holding firm makes sense. The right decision always depends on your motivation, your timeline, how strong the buyer is, and what the rest of the market looks like. Option three, the seller can challenge the appraisal. In some situations, your agent can submit a reconsideration of value. This means your agent will provide better comparable sales, talk to the appraiser about missing updates or features, discuss errors in the report, and sometimes appraisers will revise their value. Sometimes they don't. This works best when there is clear data to support a higher number than the appraiser came up with. Option four, the deal falls apart. If no agreement is reached, the buyer may cancel the contract under the appraisal contingency. And at that point, the home usually goes back on the market. This is why pricing correctly from the beginning is so very important. So how do I help sellers avoid appraisal problems? Well, one of the biggest parts of my job as a listing agent is protecting you before we ever get to the appraisal stage. This includes pricing your home based on real comparable data, not just hopeful numbers, and anticipating lender standards. I prepare the appraiser with a detailed feature list, upgrade documentation, and strong supporting sales. And this dramatically reduces the chance of a low appraisal. Here's what I want every Louisville homeowner to understand. A low appraisal is not the end of the deal. It's a new negotiating moment. And with the right strategy, most appraisal issues can be solved without losing the sale. So if you are thinking about selling your home and you want to make sure you avoid pricing or appraisal problems before they even happen, I am happy to help. Again, I am David Hittle. I could be your real estate specialist. I do business as Shop Kentucky Homes LLC, and I'm a real estate professional with United Real Estate Louisville. And if you have questions about selling in the Louisville area market, please feel free to reach out anytime.